Welcome to Pulsechekscrew Chronicles. I should probably introduce myself, just so you know who you're listening to. Name's Miles Calder. Just some guy talking nonsense. I drive truck for a living. Been doing it for a good long while now, and nothing fancy. Just me, the rig, and a whole lot of highway. So most of my life happens while the rest of the world's knocked out and catching some Z's. Most folks hate driving at night. Me, I love it. No traffic jams. No one slamming on the brakes for no good reason. No 4-lane highways packed with folks trying to beat each other to the next red light. Just open road, little engine noise, and miles of nothing but quiet. You learn to appreciate the quiet after a while. Gives you time to think. Now, I'll tell you, things get a little weird after midnight. Truck stops, get quiet. Parking lots are full, but you could hear a pin drop. Highways get real empty. Like you're the last person left out there some nights. Sometimes, the only thing out there is you and maybe a pair of headlights way off in the dark. Most times that doesn't mean a thing. But to this driver one night, he says that wasn't the case. Somewhere about 30 miles outside some little town you couldn't even find on a map. The same set of headlights hanging behind him. Didn't let up for miles. Stayed with him longer than usual anyway.
The first time it happened, I almost ignored it. Funny how your mind can brush off something strange. Especially late at night. You just keep telling yourself it's nothing, but sometimes nothing is the first time that something is about to go wrong. It was one of those long, empty highway drives where the blacktop seems to unravel forever, and each mile blurs into the next. I'd been behind the wheel for a couple hours by then, and somewhere between towns, the kind of in-between where gas stations vanish and radio dissolves into static. It's just you, your headlights, and that sense of nothingness pressing in on all sides. It was late, probably around 1 in the morning, that hour where that world feels thinner, like anything can slip through the cracks of the dark. The highway was mostly empty, just the occasional set of headlights passing in the opposite direction, disappearing as quickly as they appeared. I remember checking my mirrors just out of habit. That's when I noticed a pair of headlights, far back in the distance. They were small at first, nothing to worry about. Or so I thought. At the time, it didn't really seem unusual. I was just like that. Someone eventually ends up behind you. And just keep driving. 10 minutes pass by, then maybe 15. I checked the mirrors again. The headlights were still there. Not gaining much. Not falling back either. Just sitting at the same distance behind me. Again, not that strange. If people are going at roughly about the same speed, that happens. But after a while, something about those lights started gnawing at me. Not all at once, just a slow itch under my skin that wouldn't let up. Every time the road curved, the lights followed. Exact same line I did. No drifting between lanes, no speeding up to pass. Just there. Like they were glued to my rear view. Like whoever was driving knew exactly what they were doing. Steady. Eventually I glanced down at my speed and I realized I'd been sitting about 70. Out of curiosity, I eased off on the gas and dropped closer to 60. Most drivers would either pass or slow down naturally. These lights didn't. They slowed down with me. Still, same distance back. That was the first moment I felt something crawl up my spine. Not fear, not yet. Just that prickly sense you get when something's off. Your mind hasn't caught up to the danger. The highway was wide open. Nothing stopping them from passing. But they didn't. They just kept staying behind me. I shrugged it off. Maybe the driver was tired, or Maybe they just liked following someone at night so they didn't have to feel alone on the road. That's a thing people do, I think. But after about 10 minutes, I started noticing something else. Every now and then the headlights would disappear, just for an instant, then reappear again. First, I thought maybe it was hills and the road, but eventually I realized what was happening. They were turning their lights off. I've never seen that. Out there alone, and suddenly the only car for miles just disappears. It's the kind of thing that sends up red flags, even if you try to laugh it off. Not for long. Just long enough to vanish in the mirror. They'd flip them back on again. First time I noticed it clearly, I remember sitting up, slightly straighter in my seat. It's strange to see when you're alone on the highway in the middle of the night. Someone behind you, driving with their lights off. A few minutes later, it happened again. Turned their lights off. Just darkness in their rear view. Then the headlights snap back on. Still, same distance behind me. That was the moment the quiet started to feel heavy. Like shadows were pressing in. The kind of quiet where every sound, the tires, the engine, even your own breathing seems way too loud. You start to notice things when you're alone out there. Especially the hum of the tires. The way the road markings flash by. The darkness on either side of the highway. And the fact that someone behind you is just doing something that doesn't make any sense. You tell yourself it's probably nothing. But your hands are on the wheel. You can't stop glancing at that mirror. I decided to test something. I signaled and moved into the right lane, slowing slightly. On a 2-lane highway, that's the universal sign that you're letting someone pass. The other driver should have gone around, but they didn't. They slowed down again, still sitting back there, still matching my speed, refusing to pass. By now, the distance between towns was starting to show on the road signs. Next service, 42 miles. I remember looking at the road sign and doing the math in my head. 42 miles is a long time to sit on a dark highway with someone doing strange things behind you. Check the mirror again. Headlights, same distance. Then, they went off again. But this time, they stayed off for longer. Long enough that I started wondering if they'd pulled over or even turned around. Just as I was thinking that, the lights flicked back on again. Still there. Still behind me. Same distance. And now it really started to bother me. Not just a little. The kind of bother that settles in your gut and makes you wish you weren't out there alone, with nothing but blacktop and whatever's behind you. Because I couldn't come up with a normal explanation anymore. Drivers just don't usually do that. They don't follow someone for 30 miles. They don't keep switching their lights on and off. I thought about speeding up, but something about that didn't feel right either. So instead, I stayed steady and just kept watching the mirror. Eventually, another car appeared in the distance ahead, heading toward me in the opposite lane. For a moment, the oncoming headlights lit up the road behind me, just enough for me to see the vehicle back there more clearly. It wasn't a normal car. In the flash of passing headlights, I caught a glimpse. Battered old pickup, dark as the night around it. Something about it looked weird, I guess, or wrong. Like it belonged to another time or another place. I know it sounds silly, but it just looked like an older pickup, darker color, and it was just sitting much closer than I realized. The oncoming car passed us and the road went dark again. And right after that, the headlights behind me turned off. This time, they didn't come back on. For a second, my mirrors showed nothing but darkness. But I've been here before, so I kept driving, gripping the wheel a little tighter than before. And slowly, the lights came back on again. But now they were closer. Much closer. This was the moment where the hair on the back of my neck stood up for real. The ancient warning sign your body gives you. Because the truck had clearly been driving in the dark for those few seconds, closing the distance. I didn't wait around to see what would happen next. The next road sign said exit was coming up in 2 miles. It looked like nothing more than a small county road, but it was the first turn I'd seen in a while. As soon as I saw the ramp, I took it. Hard right. Waited just a little bit. No signal, just straight off the highway. The tires hit the rough pavement of the side road and I slowed down, pulling off near a small intersection. The highway sat above me on the overpass for a few seconds and everything was quiet again. Then, the pickup passed overhead. I could hear it before I saw it. Engine revving slightly and it stayed on the highway. The headlights never turned around. Just kept going. And disappeared into the night. I sat there for a minute or two before getting back on the road. To this day, I still don't know what that driver really wanted. Or even if it was a driver. Sometimes I wonder if I was really ever alone out there. It's probably nothing. Maybe they were just tired. Maybe they never intended to do anything at all. But I still think about those headlights, flickering on and off in the mirror like a warning sign, or a trick, or maybe even a dare, and how the darkness behind you can feel closer than you think. I guess it's true. Objects may be closer than they appear in your rearview mirrors.
Wait, is this guy for real? That happens all the time on the road. That's literally what driving on the road is. They're right behind you. Now, if you would have gotten off the highway with you, now that's a story. But it's not the first odd thing I guess I've ever heard come out. 30 miles with some truck just hanging behind you. Maybe the guy just felt like he didn't want to pass, or could have been anything. Or you said it was an old truck. Maybe just the lights didn't work. You know, just wanted to stay there. Sometimes people do that. I don't know why. Maybe he gets lonely out there. Matching every speed change, well, yeah, that's part of it. You're in front, kind of follow the leader. I don't know. But when the guy took that exit and those headlights just kept going, didn't even slow down. You know, that's pretty normal. Again, you never doubt the human instincts. They definitely lead you down the right path. But hey, it's a good thing you made it out and you didn't try anything, or they didn't try anything. Sometimes it's just nice to know you're not alone out there, you know? Those long nights on the highway will do that to you. Point is, sometimes it's just good to know you got some company out there. But anyway, looks like this is my stop. I gotta unload. Catch y'all next time on another story. There's always something strange out here. If you've got your own story, shoot an email to the address in the description. Maybe we'll share it here. And if you like what you're hearing, you know the drill. Just hit follow for more. Have a good day.